give you Peter Belisle. Peter is the President of Energy and Sustainability Services at Jones Lang LaSalle. He's going to talk about the kind of trends they see in terms of property ownership and property management. Peter?
We manage close to about 1.8 billion square feet of real estate globally for clients of those two areas, both the investor and the occupier side. And I think there's some very exciting things that we're seeing not only here in this country, but in other countries as well, that really lend themselves to actually bridging this concept that is so important to all of us around conservation, but also making sure that there are, as mentioned earlier, some market driving forces that are creating the bridge that creates that stimulus to make these things happen. So some of the drivers are somewhat different, but it really gets very interesting because there's a lot of cross-pollination of those two different asset classes. A lot of these occupiers are tenants in these investor buildings, and a number of the investor owners of real estate are very much trying to respond to this tenant mix. Very, very important distinction, but also something to keep in mind in terms of even horizon. One of the things that we find, and I'm sure a number of you have as well, is when you think about application of energy reduction technologies or modifications to a building, this ownership horizon really comes into play. And so this is important for all of us to be thinking about this when we're looking at providing solutions for these different types of ownership entities. Having a financial context to what's the horizon of ownership that they can really truly get their arms around and commit to really informs a lot of the decision process of what of those activities can move ahead. So just some examples of kind of some things that really are happening and this kind of crossover of employees, tenants, and then what larger corporates are doing. Yahoo's van pooling program is a great example. It was really driven out of an employee engagement effort. Not that Yahoo corporately didn't want to be taking on and looking at specific employee activities, but the employee base there, as with a lot of other corporates, has really been very active in establishing programs at the employee level that have to do with conservation, recycling, a number of things, and kind of a grassroots effort that is really driven, when we've spoken with these employees, it's driven from everything about input that they receive at home from spouses, children being in school. It's amazing how this network has changed and has started to affect not only kind of a top-down effort around sustainability activities, but a bottoms-up effort as well. One of the things that we've found with some of the larger consulting firms that we work with, kind of the traditional Big Four consulting and financial advisory companies, is that when they're recruiting new talent right out of college now, questions such as, what is your company's sustainability chart on the rise? That may have not even been the case 10, 15 years ago. It's really interesting to see our younger folks that are now coming into the workforce really carrying a very strong flag for this, and they're not interested in, I know a lot of you have heard the expression greenwashing, and just kind of a company trying to look green to benefit themselves financially in the marketplace, but specifically, tell me what your company does around this space. What is your level of commitment to sustainability and to energy conservation? So this is something, again, I'm really excited to see it because it's driving the economics and the actual decision process of a lot of companies. They're realizing this can really be backstopped by good business versus something that feels right to do, but will they be able to really carry through on these objectives?